Hey artists, this is Nicole Watson. I am excited to be back creating in the Grafix Mixed Media Journal for you. I'll be using my graphics journal along with a lot of other wonderful graphics products to create a winter themed mixed media spread in this journal. I'm going to begin creating on one of the matte journal pages by adhering a piece of ledger paper to the page with matte medium front and back. This is the cute little photo that I picked out. It's a winter scene, and when I was going through some of my vintage photos, I discovered it and knew that I wanted to use it in this journal. And then in the process, I kind of discovered that this journal has become kind of seasonal in a way. I have three other spreads actually that I've created in it that are kind of like spring and summer feeling. Maybe one's a little bit more fall. I haven't decided yet. And then I found this one that's kind of winter themed. So I think I'm going to turn this into like a seasonal journal. So you have to watch the rest of the processes and how I transform this into a seasonal journal throughout the rest of this year. Since I've also used this same ledger sheet on all of the spreads so far, I wanted to also continue that theme. So as I said a little bit ago, I used matte medium front and back, and you notice just like, 30 seconds ago maybe, that I took a baby wipe and wiped off around the edges. One reason I do use the matte medium on this is because of a lot of my mixed media techniques have watered down paint with them, and the matte medium helps seal that ledger sheet up perfectly. Grafix does have some great adhesives, which I will use coming up. But for my process, I need the matte medium on top of this ledger sheet to seal it to the page. And now I'm using some watered down gesso. My goal here for this is to blend that ledger sheet into the background a little bit more, but also kind of create a snowy atmosphere with the gesso. You could also accomplish this with some watered down white paint. My preferred method is gesso because I like the chalky kind of nature of it. The nature of this journal has a lot of drying time for several of the layers, so I'm going to set this page aside, pick up my Dura-Bright white notepad here, and rip out one of those Dura-Bright white pages for another part of the journal page. Now this Dura-Bright white takes a lot of mediums, and it actually says on the front of that which ones that it holds up to best. One of the things is watercolor, and so I thought I'd experiment with watercolor on this. I'm using a liquid watercolor instead of like one of the hard palettes or tube watercolor. This is a Payne's Gray, and I kind of want to create like a swirly, snowy type effect. So I first kind of swirled around with my watercolor brush here, and then I got to thinking, I like this, but I wanted a little bit more. And so one of my favorite fun objects to like stamp paint with is just the bottom of like a spray bottle or the bottom of like a paint tube. I like Dina Wakley's a lot. Hers have a great shape, but the spray bottle also has a similar shape, and I just continued to stamp over and over and over and over again in that watercolor to create kind of like a swirling snow effect. I continued this process over and over to create like variations in the color. I wanted some darks and some lights, and as it began to dry just a little bit, then I picked up some of that watercolor again, more at like full strength instead of watering it down, just add some really dark darks to the background. In a minute, you're going to see what I'm going to do with this, but I'm wanting it to just be a really cool effect background because you're not going to see it as a whole. You're just going to see little parts of it, as you probably saw in the beginning photo of the video. I stepped aside and waited a while for this to dry, but I still had that huge puddle going on in the center, so I just grabbed I think I grabbed a baby wipe that was already dry and just kind of mopped up that puddle because I didn't really need it. Now I'm going to trim down this white Dura Bright material so that I can cut with it in my Sizzix machine. Now, honestly, I haven't used my Sizzix in a very long time. If you see some dust on it, I apologize. I did actually honestly dust it off. I had purchased some of these new Seth After dyes, and I wanted to try them out, and I thought the shape of them kind of really lended itself well to like snow and snowballs and like the fluffiness and the coolness of snow. And so that's why I created that fun background on the Durabright white material, and I'm just going to send it through my Sizzix Big Shot here. Yet I can see the dust in it. I did miss a few. This is an old version from Stampin' Up. They have a magnetic platform. Honestly, I haven't kept up with Sizzix. I have no idea all the advancements that have been made in it. I'm sure there's other machines out there. Sizzix has a great website, so does Seth, where you can find these dies and more information about Sizzix. And so I cut it through once, and I decided, I kind of laid it out to look at it, and I decided that I needed a few more of those shapes. The one pass through just wasn't enough. So I'm going to send it through again and cut a few more of his shapes out to create that fun background. These punched really easy through that white Duralar, and I love the results of them. I think I'm going to be officially dusting off my Sizzix machine even further to use on these products because it was so fun and easy to cut out and created such a great background, which you're going to see in a minute. Now I decided I wanted to add another page to my journal. I'm kind of prepping for my next spread in a way, but also adding to this one. This was a struggle. So I bought this crocodile. The spacing on it wasn't the same spacing as the graphics journal has. And so I kind of had to manipulate it here. I drew some lines. I set it down next to the cardboard looking background. I forget what it's called. And drew the lines to meet up with the holes, and then just kind of punched them because it's not like officially there. I'm showing you how I drew the lines on that. It's chipboard, that's the name of it. And since it's not like officially punching where it's supposed to, it's leaving little bits behind. And so I'm just using my scissors just to clean that up a tiny bit. It actually worked great. However, I wish that it didn't have it has a little guide on it I wish it was movable. It would have made this a lot easier. So I'm going to look for some other punches to make this, but you can see my method worked great. Maybe you'll find a better method if you have this cropped out. It was so much fun to be able to put another page in my journal. So my next layer is going to involve some more drying time. So I'm going to get that accomplished here. I grabbed one of the clear sheets out of the journal. This is the one that accepts wet mediums the best. And so I grabbed that one, and I'm just splattering on some white acrylic ink because I want it to look like, of course, snow to go with my scene. And so now it's fully dry from the magic of video, and you can see the cool layer this is adding to my journal spread here. Now I haven't officially stuck down my die cuts there and the photo. I'm really kind of just auditioning them and making them be flipped over. I want them to be in the right place, and so I was kind of auditioning that with the new little layer that I added with that clear film. And I decided as I was doing that, adding the clear film, that I needed just like one more element to bring it all together. I wasn't happy with how those dies were laying on that ledger sheet. It felt like I needed something else to connect it. So I'm creating like a middle ground here with my ledger sheet being the background, and then my Sizzix dies there with that white Durabright being, and the photo being my foreground. I needed something to connect both of them. So I thought I'd just do a little mark making here with some of that watered down watercolor straight onto the ledger sheet and straight onto the matte Dura. It's Dura something, I forget. It's one of the journal pages, the matte version of the pages here, and it sticks perfectly great to the journal page and my ledger sheet. I wasn't sure how the watercolor would perform because I have all that matte medium down and all that gesso, but I love how it's looking. I'm also splattering a little bit on that, and this is going to really help connect all of the layers together on this journal page. One more fun thing I'm going to add to this once that watercolor is dried, I'm just very sketchily creating marks around those, just drawing some circles around them with my graphics, with my Stabilo-all pencil here in graphite. And I'm going to water it down or activate it just a little bit. It is water soluble, but it's also activating that watercolor a tiny bit, which I love because it's really adding to that grungy nature that I so enjoy creating in my journals. I love how this simple mark making layer is just connecting all of the elements together. Those sketchy circles around the watercolor connect with that handwriting in the background. The watercolor dots connect with my snowflake dots on the clear journal page. And the blue color, the Payne's Gray, connects with these die cuts that I'm laying on. And you can see as I reassemble this, how that just simple element brought the page together. And now I'm just getting all of those die cuts into the perfect places, kind of getting them where I want them to be, and I need to adhere them to the page next, and this is going to be made so easy with the Grafix Artist Tack adhesive material, which I'm going to show you in just a second. So to use this artist tack, all you have to do is peel it apart. It'll reveal the sticky part, which are little tiny dots, and stick whatever you want to use the adhesive for straight onto it. It is the perfect material for these little tiny die cut moments that I have no idea how I would have stuck down otherwise. And I'm just putting them down. I'll flip the sheet back over and I'll burnish it really good to make sure that adhesive sticks, and just peel them off from the background. Easy peasy, and the perfect solution for these die cuts. Now I'm just going to stick all those little circles and die cuts out and burnish them down really tight on my page. Once I have them in place, I'm also going to put that photo on top of the same artist tack to stick it down on the page. I love these dry mediums because they aren't messing with that watercolor that I haven't sealed in the background. They also aren't like super permanent until I burnish them down, so I can kind of pick up the circles and replace them, as you see I've done several times, until I get them in the right spot. And then I'm going to also use that same artist tack on the photo for the same purpose. It's not wet, it's not going to mess up that watercolor, which I haven't sealed in the background. And that's it. It's going to put it all down and together perfectly, except I feel like I need one more element to this page. I found the cutest little words that I thought were perfect in those Tim Holtz stickers that say, "Oh little friend." I just adore this snowman and the little kid standing next to it, so much so that I thought I needed to add another one of them to my journal. So I scanned the photo in. I used Photoshop. I know there's other programs that you can use. Manipulated the photo a little bit to remove the kid background and some of the other noise, and now I printed it on the Grafix matte computer film, and now I'm gonna add it to my journal page the same way that I added that extra page to it by using that crocodile punch and punching the little tabs to stick it into my journal to add one more of those cute snowmen next to it. So I'm just popping that extra page into my journal. Perfect fit. Now I could have used the Grafix matte adhesive film and just adhered it straight onto that white page that I added, but I wanted to be able to layer underneath of it, which is what I'm doing now. I'm adding some of that ledger sheet onto the white journal page to have it kind of shadow through or peek through behind the snowman. I'm putting it in places where there isn't much print. You can see it coming through right there. And in a second, I am also going to add some of that same gesso like I did on the first page to, again, kind of hide it into the page, push it back a little bit, create some more of a snowy effect. And I'm just layering a few more ledger sheets before I do that. So now here's that gesso that I'm about to add some more of because I felt like I didn't have it masked enough behind the background. You could see those like really stark lines of the ledger sheet behind the snowman, and that's not what I wanted. So I'm disguising it even more with some heavier gesso. I kind of had to be careful so I wouldn't get the page wet as I flipped it back and forth, but it's becoming the perfect solution to try to tie this left side into the right. And so that I'm doing this, I'm thinking through what else do I need to do to this page to tie it into the right side, because it kind of feels like right now it has no purpose other than the fact that I really thought that snowman was cute and I needed to blow it up and make it larger and add one more to this journal. As I was flipping back that page back and forth, kind of additioning the papers behind it, I realized that there's like this perfect moment to add just something small to the front. So I grabbed another sheet of that ledger. I'm going to stick it straight down onto the Duralar matte film. And now I'm just creating a little collage moment here with some of the leftover Sizzix punch outs that I have. And I'm just trying to pick the perfect saying to put on top of it that will tie it next door to the actual photo. So now I'm just going to add some more of that watercolor, that Payne's Gray watercolor on it, again to tie it to the right side. I wasn't sure how this computer film would take a medium on top of it, but it took the watercolor really, really well. It was the perfect thing to add to it. As I add it, it's really tying into the right side. It's making me so happy to see it. Once it dries, I'm going to add those Sizzix die cuts on top and my little saying. I'm actually going to use matte medium to stick the saying down instead of the artist tag because I have messed it up by tearing it back, and that cardboard is really like, it's like soft and peely, and so it doesn't stick the best down to a non-wet adhesive. The wet works the best for this. So I'm just adding that to the page with the matte medium, but I also wanted to seal the top of it with matte medium because I'm going to add some watercolor on top, and similar to that ledger sheet, I didn't want it to soak in funny. So much of art journaling is problem solving, and so now I had the little problem of the fact that I have these two pages, the white one behind and this one with the snowman on, and the white one behind is kind of ugly in a way, and so if you're flipping through the journal and they don't accidentally stick together, you're gonna see that white sheet with those funny ledger sheets and be like, what's the purpose of this? And then I also didn't want to create on the other side of the snowman, so I needed to stick these down together somehow, and I wanted to do it in a creative way. So I grabbed my awl here and pre-punched some holes because of the thickness of these materials, and I'm just going to stitch them together to stick them together. I love that this is adding the blue to the edge because I had the perfect embroidery floss for this little addition, and I love how it's like not traditional. I like how it's not like totally sealed, and so that there's kind of some movement behind the two, and I meant to stitch like up and down, and then I ended up messing up and went around the edge. You'll see in a minute. So the stitches are kind of wonky, but they're fun, and I thought this was the perfect solution. These two journal pages, well, they're actually ones that I created from the computer film and then made one out of the white material, and they stitched great with the pre-punched holes. So I've been wanting to try stitching in this journal because I thought that would be great because the paper wouldn't rip. You know, when you stitch through paper, a lot of times you have problems with holes ripping, and so this heavier material was great to stitch through. Just the pre-punched little holes with my awl worked perfectly. You could have also used a hole punch, but I thought I wanted the smaller holes here. So now you see a little bit of my wonky stitches because I wasn't totally paying attention to what I did, but it's kind of fun and it turned out great in the end. And it was the best solution, I think, to stick these together. So now I'm going to pop it back into my journal. I do have a little issue here with it going back and forth easily because of my not so perfect guide that I used to punch the holes with. My error on that fact because of how I punched it, so I just used some scissors and cleaned up those holes a tiny bit, and now it works perfectly. And I'm adding that watercolor to the top of the saying like I had mentioned earlier. And that's going to be the final touch on this winter themed spread in my evolving seasonal journal here that you'll get to see me finish up throughout this year. I had so much fun exploring these new graphics products, or new to me graphics products, the watercolor on top of that Duralar, printing on the matte graphics, using the clear page for my little snow. It was so much fun to put together. I hope this encourages you to pick up some of these graphics products. I know new products can be intimidating because I was there too, but the graphics website has so much incredible information. It tells you how you can use these products, what mediums they accept. Some of them also have that information on the labels, and so just use that to be your guide to explore some new products in your art journaling. Maybe pick up the graphics journal and create a seasonal journal too, because it is actually so much fun to focus on each season on a journal spread. It makes a quick, simple journal. If you do, be sure to tag me, and always tag graphics to share what you create. Thanks so much for watching, and happy creating.